On April 8, 2012, at exactly 1:05 p.m., a $2.5 billion orbital sentinel transmitted a crystal-clear image of the Spanish coastline. Then, suddenly, the signal went completely dead. Normally, when a machine like this fails, gravity eventually pulls it down to burn up in the atmosphere. But this satellite didn't fall. It simply went dark, maintaining its altitude as a silent, uncontrollable ghost. To understand the scale of the problem, look at the size of this machine. Envisat is as large as a double-decker bus, weighing a massive 8 tons, and it is hurtling through space at 17,000 miles per hour. But space isn't empty. This radar map shows thousands of active satellites and pieces of debris. Envisat is flying completely blind right through the middle of this swarm. Because it has no propulsion or steering, human operators down on Earth are forced to constantly monitor its trajectory. If they stopped issuing avoidance maneuvers for the active satellites surrounding it, mathematical models predict a major collision would happen within days. A direct hit on an object of this mass would shatter it into thousands of lethal fragments. Those fragments would then hit other satellites, triggering a cascading chain reaction that could easily blind modern global communication networks. When Envisat launched, it was an absolute triumph of engineering. It was the most expensive and sophisticated Earth observation platform ever built. By 2010, the European Space Agency wanted to be responsible. To prepare for its eventual retirement, flight operations directors decided to execute a standard safety procedure. They burned some of its remaining fuel to lower its altitude. This diagram tracks that exact orbital drop. You can see the satellite leaving a relatively clear upper altitude, but instead of reaching a safe disposal zone, that maneuver placed it directly into a densely packed red-colored ring of debris. The very protocol designed to safely retire the satellite is what permanently trapped it in a lethal crossfire. Realizing the danger, the space agency spent millions designing the Deorbit mission, a plan to send up a specialized spacecraft equipped with a net and harpoon to physically capture Envisat. But they eventually had to abandon the project entirely. The math showed capture was completely impossible. Without active stabilization thrusters, the 8-ton satellite had begun to violently and unpredictably tumble end over end in the vacuum of space. Getting close to it would be suicidal. This X-ray reveals why it's tumbling. As the massive aluminum hull passes through Earth's magnetic field, invisible field lines pass directly through the metal. This creates eddy currents, swirling loops of electricity that generate an opposing magnetic force, constantly twisting the satellite to spin faster. Earth's own magnetic field has weaponized the satellite's aluminum frame, turning a dead machine into an untouchable spinning top that defies all our current capture technologies. And the danger is peaking right now. We're currently in the middle of a solar maximum. Violent solar flares are superheating Earth's atmosphere, causing it to physically puff up and expand into lower orbits. This extra atmospheric drag affects objects differently based on their ballistic coefficient, essentially how well an object punches through the air. A dense, compact satellite like the grapefruit-sized Vanguard 1 handles the drag relatively well, but Envisat is a massive, unwieldy target. The expanding atmosphere is catching on its large frame, dragging and destabilizing its orbit. Because of this unpredictable movement, collision probabilities for this specific satellite have spiked by 20% heading into 2026. Modern commercial networks are already paying the price. Starlink alone has to execute hundreds of thousands of emergency avoidance maneuvers in a single year just to dodge the chaotic paths of legacy ghosts like this one. When it was designed, Envisat was a technological marvel meant to operate for a maximum of 5 years, but this timeline shows its actual fate. Because of its extreme mass and its current altitude, atmospheric drag won't be enough to naturally pull it down and burn it up until the year 2162. Due to a combination of well-intentioned safety protocols and blind spots in orbital physics, this machine is sentenced to hang over our heads as an inescapable threat for the next 150 years.